your biggest challenge yesterday, and what lessons do you think that you were supposed to learn from that? I think there is something valuable about doing more than just getting through today. You need to do more than just get through today. Get from the day. What can you get from the day? You can think about things that happen to you. You can look at it that way, or you can look at things that happen for you. It's all about a perspective shift. The things are the things, and you make of them ultimately, what they mean to you. You make the meaning. In the way that you reflect on it, it's a tool that you can use for your growth, whatever it was, whatever challenges were present. There's a lesson in there for you if you choose to take it. But one thing about lessons is they are available, but they are not mandatory. You don't have to take it. You can just keep beating your head against the wall. You don't have to learn. You don't have to grow. The challenges are inevitable, but the growth is voluntary. So let us know the biggest challenge yesterday, and what lessons do you think you were supposed to learn from that? So Mez says, discipline is tiring. Discipline is tiring. I need more practice. I need more practice. Well, I think what happens a lot of times when we are instilling a new discipline, it's not the discipline itself, it's just the maturity that you have in the development of the specific thing that you're trying to get a handle on. Some things, when they become automatic, they don't require the discipline. It's just a habit, and there's momentum. And we can kind of set a lot of things in our life on autopilot so we don't have to feel that strain. But that strain is where the growth is happening. That strain is where the growth is happening. So congratulations on your recognition of your need for practice and your honest assessment of where you are in relation to your specific goal. So lessons. The biggest challenge for Patch was my ride situation. I learned not to depend on others, even when you give them compensation. It's like, yo, I gave you money to come pick me up. What's good? What's good? So you're like, yeah, I got to take matters into my own hands. I can't let my employment and my, financial future be hinging on your fickle desire to to hook and ride. I need some autonomy in my life. So the biggest challenge for Tim was my manager coming at me with everything I messed up. Obviously, I need to slow down and pay attention. It's a great detail of my job, so I need to slow down and pay attention. There we go. That was a very generous thing to do. Your manager confronting you with what's going on to give you an opportunity to get better. Those are not necessarily comfortable conversations, but they're necessary sometimes. We need to have a wake-up call. So J-Man says, the challenge yesterday for me was starting my Patreon. The lesson it taught me is just because I don't have all the answers right now, it doesn't mean I shouldn't start. Just because I don't have the answers, that's no reason not to get started. Absolutely. I think in general, we typically wait too long because we try to predict what needs to happen rather than getting started and learning in the process what needs to happen. So, congratulations on getting that started. So the biggest challenge for Alexis yesterday was arguing with the USPS for 45 minutes for them telling me they absolutely will not deliver my Amazon package and are sending it back. And the lesson is to allow for them to deliver it anyways. I was supposed to learn patience. Learning patience. Only for them to deliver it anyways. You argued, they said they weren't going to do it, they did it. So yeah, sometimes we waste our lives arguing. So Noble Ancient says, my biggest challenge yesterday was making sure that work was completed in proper timing. For me, the lesson was to have been time management, and it worked too. Manage your time a little bit better so that you don't run up against the clock, run up against a hard limit, a hard stop. That's a valuable lesson. And I think the biggest thing is we can note in the moment, oh, we've learned something today, or that's interesting, or you can feel a sense of relief when the day is over. But unless we take a second to reflect, sometimes those lessons are lost, and we need to find ways to be intentional about reinforcing the lessons and wisdom that we accumulate over the course of our days, so that we don't have to keep living in a Groundhog Day situation, repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Take a second. So Johnny says, I was invited for a dinner. It was a challenge to choose a meal. I learned that cranberry mayonnaise is not a good thing, and that I am loved and deserved to be loved. So, cranberry mayonnaise, was there ever any doubt? Was there ever any indication that cranberry mayonnaise was a good idea? Shout out to you for giving it a shot, though, and not jumping to the obvious conclusion that cranberry mayonnaise is so bad I can't even say it. Shout out to you for not jumping to the obvious conclusion that cranberry mayonnaise is gross. It's unspeakably bad. So the challenge for Miss yesterday was focus. Splitting my focus is not useful. Research shows it takes 25% longer to get done. Time management is an ongoing challenge. Also, telling a friend I can't watch her kid having a difficult conversation. That's always challenging, and I hope that it proves to be valuable. What you're taking away from that proves to be valuable. So yeah, when my senses get offended, it's difficult for me to speak. For sure. That's okay. The challenge for Esso yesterday was not having a bland conversation and not being reactive with someone, but it was unsuccessful. I need to ask myself if this is a recurring behavior I'm willing to be okay to deal with. Is this something I want to keep dealing with? Yeah, you have to ask yourself. You failed in your attempt to not be reactive. So maybe there is a person or a situation that is putting you in this state of mind, and it's a challenge for you. So the biggest challenge from yesterday. So someone anonymously shares that taking care of the kids was tough because I was upset/depressed because I don't take time to work on myself. And if I should start doing that, I guess it's the lesson. Should I take care of myself? Will taking care of myself make me more capable? I would guess that that's probably the case. Taking care of yourself does make you more. Now it's just a matter of finding the time and carving out the time to do that. And it's sort of counterintuitive because the busier we are, the more we need it, right? The busier we are, the slower we need to go. And that's an odd paradox, but it seems to be true a lot of the times. When you're really busy, the best thing to do is make a conscious effort to slow down because of the, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. All right. So if we are ready, we can get into our next little piece of the conversation here. I really appreciate everyone for engaging in that question. Now we're going to get into a little bit of a challenge for you. This is a challenge for you. We're looking at yesterday's challenge, but let's look at something a little more kind of beyond the bounds of what's recent. So what error do you recognize but to correct? What error do you recognize but have yet to correct? Awareness is a great way to start, and admitting things that we see that are wrong is sort of a prerequisite to fixing them. But awareness is important, but it is not sufficient. Owning it is critical, but it is not sufficient. So what error do you recognize but have yet to correct? And it needs to be something that is within your realm of possibility. It has to be something that you can control. There are a lot of problems. There are a lot of things that are wrong that you are aware of, but not all of those things are within your capability, or even, in your capability to have a significant influence over. So kind of zero the focus in. What error do you recognize but have yet to correct? So Alexis says, I cannot work 2 jobs and a career with my current health and expect to not be burnt out and be a zombie. I just haven't told the second job I changed my mind about the job offer. So for a moment, you thought that, well, I can kind of do all of this, but that's not the case. And you need to have the conversation to address that. Just haven't done it yet. And I understand how it can be tough, because for a long time, and it works this way so often, for a long time, you are like, you're working towards something, like you were looking for a job for a long time. So it's hard to turn that opportunity away. It's like you went from, I need a job, to now I got 2 jobs. And that can be a difficult shift, right? It's hard to let that go. It's like feast or famine, right? All right, let's see. An error that's been recognized but has not been addressed. J-Man says, my current sleep schedule, and with that, good night, y'all. J-Man's like, I can't get my sleep schedule together. All right. So Mez says, I insulted someone close to me with something petty because they insulted me. I felt justified. I know I wasn't. I need to organize my emotions and thoughts so as not to make another error. Sometimes we feel like, oh, they got it coming, so I'm gonna give it to them. They got it coming. And we don't recognize the damage that we're doing to ourselves by stooping to that level, by lashing out. We are not always in a position where we are willing to be the bigger person. And when you recognize that, sometimes there's a conversation and a reconciliation that needs to happen, or it's something that you want to focus on moving forward, making better. So that's okay. The error is putting excuses to stop my boldness to avoid conflict, confrontation, and having to explain myself. So the error for SO is I don't speak up the way I should. I don't explain myself. And you rationalize or justify that boldness, or you rationalize away that boldness and avoid that conflict. Yeah, that double take on boldness. Yeah. So how do you correct that? There is a certain skill. Like, you don't have to explain yourself, you grown. And so that's what Miss says. Sometimes it's a very generous thing to make sure that you are understood. But that doesn't apply to everyone. Not everyone deserves or is entitled to an explanation. Ms. says, I was born with club feet and need re-surgery, yet I walk a lot less than I used to, but I should be using my walker/cane, but I don't unless it's a terrible pain day. So the error is in disregarding the requirements for your health and wellness and exacerbating a problem that you have. No More Ancient says, my error that I recognize that I have yet to correct is that I have problems with certain details in games, like stealth actions in Breath of the Wild, for example. So this is a very specific challenge that you're facing with your creative work, and maybe you haven't taken the steps to address that kind of a gap in your specific skill set. Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to when you recognize an area of weakness, it doesn't necessarily feel good to dig back in and work on the skills required to like make it better. I think that sometimes we don't develop our skills evenly. We get really good at certain aspects of the creative work and other things lag behind. So a lot of times we can spend a lot of time while we are working, focusing our attention on the parts that we are good at, that feel good. And then there's these little pieces that kind of get left behind. But eventually those shortcomings accumulate and they become a block for your progress. So the hard work of covering those gaps, whether it's in developing the skill yourself or whether it's outsourcing that part of the process and getting assistance from someone else, our willingness to address those weaknesses can be a huge impetus for the growth that we're going to experience in the next stage. So Tim says, the error is I need to stretch my mind, but mainly my body. Fix it, Jesus. Johnny says the error I have is that sometimes I judge people or a certain problem when I'm angry and take it for granted. I should never judge anything before I take a deep breath. Yeah, taking a second before we jump to a conclusion about someone. A lot of times we have to move past any projections that we have first. And it doesn't take much to have a moment of generosity and to not automatically jump to the very worst conclusion. Sometimes your suspicions will be confirmed, but it is probably worthwhile to have a moment to make sure that what you are seeing isn't some sort of projection and that you are not viewing them through the lens of your own prejudice or your own preconceived notion. And also recognize that everyone isn't always showing up at 100%. You know that you don't always show up at 100%. So, you can give people you can stand to give people a little bit of grace sometimes, I would think. So yeah, we can definitely have our emotions get out in front of us. But you're wrong sometimes. Sometimes it's about you. I think most of the time we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So, there is that part. So the error that Patch is looking at is a lack of motivation. A lack of motivation. I don't know that motivation is an error. I think sometimes a lack of motivation sometimes is a lack of clarity. Sometimes it's hard to be, we can't conceptualize the next step, or if we've made the next step too large of a leap to take at once, sometimes we'll freeze. Sometimes we'll freeze. All right. So someone anonymously says, too many, and maybe I don't want to self-reflect today. There's too many errors to name, and I don't necessarily want to think about that right now. That's cool. That's cool. Now might not be the moment. Maybe you can reflect on it at another time. But those errors are, they're going to be operative in your life and experience at some point. This is kind of the nature of errors, to sort of tangle things up. All right. Let's get ready to go on to our next prompt. All right, this is another community submitted prompt. Tim brought this one to me. From your experience, how would you define healing? I think sometimes the things that we judge as errors that we are making are just evidence of something that's not quite whole. And we are making these errors because of something deeper than the situation that we are looking at that actually needs to be fixed. So yeah, healing can be making things whole or better, and you kind of have to get to the root source. There's a difference between treatment and healing. So from your experience, how would you define healing? All right. From your experience, how would you define healing? So Miz says, for me, healing is having an open heart, letting go of grudges and worries for a moment or two. So it's a moment to moment experience. Miz says, healing, when I can be confronted with something and it doesn't affect me as roughly, I am healing. I am healed when I am no longer attached to that thing. When I am no longer attached, that is evidence that I am healed. Noble Ancient says, from my experience, healing is restoring from wounds not easily seen, but restorable nonetheless. Each wound is different and needs a different kind of healing to be restored. Absolutely. So we are giving our definitions from our experience of healing. So for SOK, healing is having the opposite experience of the situation. So healing is the opposite. You're in a situation that is unfavorable, unhealthy, and this healing is just the absolute direct opposite of that. So Emo says, from my experience, healing means to overcome. To overcome, that is what healing is. Alexis says, being willing to confront the past in a non-judgmental way, accepting what happened has in fact happened and nothing can change that, and then release the emotions and trauma attached to each event. Goddess of Words says, didn't I say I don't want to self-reflect? Well, you said that anonymously. If you did, you just outed yourself. All right. So we all have a different, we have our nuanced understanding of what healing means that is valuable for us to share, to have a more rounded, well-rounded understanding of what it can mean. We can learn from each other in that way. So we're just speaking from my experience. Johnny says, right to hear the prayer of healing from above, right to heal and feel the real love. So I appreciate all the wisdom that you are sharing with each other, both in the chat and in the replies. Miss says in the chat, life without attachment isn't bad. You can be responsible without being attached to outcomes. You can still be responsible. I think response is the operative word there. You can still be able to respond without being attached. Attachment, I think you react to attachments. So you attached and you react, but you can respond. So, yeah. Reese says, I just do everything to the fullest extent of my ability. Then I don't have to worry about the outcome. If you know, you don't have to be attached to an outcome. If you know you've given your best, that's all that you can do. All right. Great and powerful insights that you're sharing right now. Goddess of Words says you can control the outcome. You can't control the outcome of any situation. You can only control that you will be strong enough to overcome it. Perfect. All right. Let's get ready. Make sure I got everyone's responses here. Now let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go on to the next prompt. And here we are. This is another community submitted prompt. And this is from Goddess of Words from an exchange I had. What are you bringing to the potluck? What are you bringing to the potluck? Now, the idea of a potluck is that we're going to get together and everyone is going to bring, hopefully it would be something that they are good at. They will bring something that kind of, so they can shine a little bit. Now we can talk about like actual foodstuffs, but I think it's more of a commentary on our interdependence. I think that is sort of the ultimate phase of sort of creative possibility. Is yes, we don't want to be dependent. We want to reach a state where we can stand without, being overly reliant. We don't want to be dependent on outside resources or outside forces for us to do the basic things that we need to do. We want to be able to stand on our own, but a higher level of creative possibility lies in interdependence, being able to bring your gifts to a table with other people and have everyone's work elevated through that relationship, realizing possibilities that could not be imagined if you were trying to do it all by yourself. We are all living in a space of interdependence. No matter how solo we think we all are standing on the shoulders of giants to some degree. We are all relying on the work of others to make our work possible. At the most basic level, you're using something to make what you make, and someone had to create what you use. So at sort of a fundamental level, we are all interdependent because we live in a society. And we all deal with the blessings and curses of that reality. So here we are. What are you bringing to the potluck? What is the skill or the attitude or the energy that you bring that can make everyone else better, that can make the event go off? Noble says, I'm bringing both my appetite. I'm gonna bring my appetite and entertainment and games for everyone to play, as I grew up with potlucks and get-togethers. Well, that's the one thing that you want to bring, is an appetite and an open mind, because not everybody's vibing with what you're vibing with necessarily, but you have to have an open mind, and maybe you can learn something. You could discover a new favorite if you have an open mind. Tim says, I'm bringing music so we can dance and vibe together. So I'm bringing the ambiance, the atmosphere, the vibe. That's what I'm bringing to the potluck. So Reese says, the more music I make, the more I realize that I'm not just doing it for myself. Lyrical content is therapeutic to more than I could hope for. So I'm bringing my gifts, I'm bringing my music. So we're gonna have Tim's curatory gift in providing music, finding the sound and finding the vibe. And then we're gonna have Reese's creative energy in making things that are new and unheard. So Mez says, people often say I have good energy when they meet me. So I'm bringing that sparkle and cake. Bring sparkle and cake. Someone anonymously says, yo, I'm bringing them joints, yo. I'm gonna bring those joints. I'm bringing those joints to the potluck. Miss says, I would set the mood, music, tables, and chairs for everyone to gather and share and have fun. I'd set the tables too. Y'all want some food? Y'all want some food? Goddess of Words says, I would bring cornbread, monkey bread, sarcasm, dark humor, and the biggest damn smile, and an annoying way of making people feel. Alexa says, I will cosplay and bring my weird sense of humor and social awkwardness. Oh, and tiramisu and cranberry chicken. Tiramisu and cranberry chicken, bringing that. Emma says, I would bring myself to the potluck because I forget what I actually have to bring at home. So Emma's showing up empty-handed. Emma's gonna have to stop at the gas station and get a bag of chips on the way in. So Essa says, I would bring the pot to the potluck. LOL. Just kidding. Cheesecake. It's not a potluck without the pot. Emma would bring a medium bag of chips. Emma would just bring a personal bag of chips and hold it the whole time and just offer people, hey, you want some chips? No. Emma would dig a dirty hand in the bag, have a chip, and then offer it. You want some of these? So Esso's bringing the pot and Emma's bringing the luck. So the potluck is a useful metaphor. It's a useful metaphor for the ways that ideally, if we can place ourselves in a situation where we are offering the best of what we have and putting it together in community with others doing the same, that it can make for a unique and unexpected experience that may be better than what you would have imagined. It might be worse, might be better. Miss Hippie says, I would bring laughter, awesomeness, and all the comfort foods you could eat. Mac and cheese. I got the mac. I got you on that cheese and that mac. All right, so we have our ideas, the things that we could bring together in community. And when we think about a potluck, we are drawn to the idea of a meal and, the literal definition of what we see as a potluck. But with our next prompt, we're going to dig deeper into the specifics of what that means. So this question: what is your most valuable piece of career capital? Career capital is that skill that you have, that trait that you have, that thing that can open the door to your next opportunity, to the next project that you want to do. It is that little piece of evidence to say, hey, I'm cool. I can do this. I can do that. Here's the proof. What is your most valuable piece of career capital? Because we're all out here doing stuff, whether we are operating independently as artists and creative folks, or we're building ourselves a career for ourselves. I know Johnny is embarking on a new career that, he's invested a lot of time and energy in studying and learning. We're all working on something. So what do you think the most valuable thing is? So this is sort of like this is the grand potluck of life. This isn't just about the friends that we have that we're going to get together with. This is sort of thinking about the mark that we're going to leave with the work that we do, the life that we want to create for ourselves. So what do you think the most valuable thing is? Miss Hippie, thank you so much for the spoon. So the skill that Miss has is being able to organize people toward a common goal. Being able to organize people towards a common goal. And I take it that you have a series of projects or a series of things that you have done to point to that capability. You can show people, say, hey, this is a campaign. This is an initiative. This is something that demonstrates my ability to bring people together in this way. You can look back at this and recognize who you're working with, who you're dealing with right now. So Kina says singing and dancing, those are the valuable things that I can do. I got some talents that I can show. I can bring that to the table for you. I got some performing skills. Mez says, I got some attention to detail and empathy. Those are some leading traits that are valuable, universally valuable traits. And I'm glad that there were no typos or anything like that. in that particular response, because that would have been unfortunate with the attention to detail part. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think you have? So this is sort of the grand potluck, and this is sort of that piece of evidence, right? And I guess you might be in the process right now of attaining that. If you are still in school, or you are about to embark on, an educational journey, then your degree is a piece of career capital, right? The fact that you finished a program and you are certified in a certain thing, you know that you can use that to enhance your potential to find a place. Mo says, like a master's, you mean? Yeah. Mo's master's degree is definitely a piece of career capital. These keys that open the doors for you. Tim says, I don't have anything, but I'm gonna show up. Hey, they say showing up, like a huge percentage is in showing up, right? That's underrated, because some people don't show up. You might be late, but you show up. I'm here. Yeah, that reliability. I'll be there. There's nothing, you can't, there's a certain level of peace of mind that you can have, that you give people when they know that you're going to show up. It's like, well, I don't know what Tim is going to do when she gets here, but she'll be here and we'll figure that out. Alexa says, my most valuable career asset is my business mindset. I'm very much set for the business world in terms of management and leadership. So you have a mindset towards business management and leadership. So Noble Ancient says, my career capital traits are my positive attitude and organization skills. They each play a role in my overall adventure in life. So I recognize these traits. I have a positive attitude and the ability to organize things. So these are the traits. Mo has outstanding problem-solving skills. Problem-solving skills. So someone anonymously shares money, mind, and commitment. That is what I can bring. I got my mind, and my mind is on my money. I hear you. I got my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Someone anonymously shares that my hands, my mind, and my voice. My hands, my mind, my voice. So I got these tools that I can work with. So I think it's important, as averse as we may be to kind of quantify or demonstrate or provide evidence of these traits, it's important to do it. So the capital for SO. At my best, it varies, but I work well in crisis at my worst. So if you are in crisis mode, call SO. SO thrives under pressure. You can be like that character in Pulp Fiction played by Harvey Keitel, the fixer. You got a bad situation, SO will come in. There you go. We all good. Nobody panic. It's going to work out. So being able to keep a cool head is crisis management. So SO is the cleaner. Yeah. So we recognize these traits, and hopefully you have a way to demonstrate through projects that you've completed or work that you've done or recommendations from other people. Like, you could say it all day, but having someone else say it about you is even more valuable. So as you move through, we recognize these things in ourselves, and hopefully we can demonstrate that when we can point to something to say, yeah, this is proof that this is how I get down. You can ask about me, right? Ask about me. This is how I get down. So, for sure. And I think it's important not only to look at what we have, it's also useful to be a little prospective and think about, what do I need? What do I need? Is there something that you need to get you to the next step? Maybe there is an additional educational requirement for you to move into the thing that you're trying to move into, the way that Johnny just completed the program or completed the testing to, pursue his career. Sometimes there's more things that you need to learn and improve that you've done. Sometimes it is a small project that you need to complete to demonstrate your ability to go to a bigger project. All right, so here we go. Let us get ready to recap. It's about that time, folks. We can do a quick recap, or a recap, however long it takes. We're going to pull back up our main screen, or our summary screen. Let's go over where we've been thus far in today's session. Here's your screenshot moment. So we started by looking at yesterday. What was your biggest challenge yesterday, and what were you supposed to learn from that? Maybe the challenge doesn't make any sense, but you went through something yesterday, and there's a lesson in it. There's always a lesson in it. So we want to be intentional about getting from the day, not just getting through the day. We then moved on to looking at the errors that persist, that we are aware of but have yet to address. It takes a lot of courage. Sometimes even when we see something, we don't always say something. So we see it, now we've said it, now we can do something about it. Maybe start to address it somehow in some small way, and eventually you can get to the other side. And I think that is sort of what healing is about, right? That was the next question. What is your definition of healing from your experience? What does it mean to heal? So moving from healing, we're thinking about not so much in the next prompt, we're thinking not so much about the things that we need to fix. We're looking at the things that we actually have to bring. What we bring to the potluck, what we bring to our life that's valuable, that can help us attain the things that we desire. We've developed a set of skills, and we have a certain set of traits that make us a unique part of the tapestry of humanity. So what is that? What are those things, and how can you demonstrate them? And that's sort of the arc of the conversation that we've had today. So let's look at some of our key takeaways thus far. Tim says, recognize when you're wrong, but also recognize when you're great. That's a key takeaway. Recognize when you're wrong, but also recognize when you're great. And we started the conversation with complimenting each other. That was one of the first activities, complimenting someone in the chat that's present. Someone's present in the stream. So not only do we want to recognize within ourselves what's great, but also call out and recognize what's great in other people. That can be an extremely valuable practice. So as you're listening and watching on the other platforms, think about what you would want to take away from this session. We're going to get ready to wrap it up on this end, and we'll hang out a little bit longer with the folks in the VIP, but I appreciate everyone for watching and listening. You can catch us live tomorrow. Well, I don't know. Maybe you listen to this on a Saturday, but we are live Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern time, and we'd love to have you. You can find the links to join us for the entire experience in your description. But until next time, we'll see you soon.